Test. Starting second, guys. Welcome to the stream. Hey everyone. It was really weird. It almost sounded like it's almost like a bit was cut off. Like I'd said something and then I said welcome to the stream and I'd made a mistake, but no, that was literally how it started. Don't know why I drew attention to that fact, but I guess we're just gonna be that kind of stream today, I guess. It's kind of a very it's kind of all sort of came together very quickly today. I was watching. I decided earlier today to rewatch the movie Almost Famous because someone from work was talking to me about it for some reason. I can't remember why. But I was like, oh, you know what? I really want to rewatch that movie. So I was like, I think 11 o'clock today. I was like, I got my copy out and I was like, oh, it's 2 hours. Perfect. Right. I'll watch that. I'll be done at 1. I can have a sandwich. I can watch the latest episode of Platonic on Apple TV. And then, plenty of time. We can start the stream. We'll be able to start the stream at 2 as usual. About halfway through the film, for some reason, I'm looking at I look at the box art and it says includes director's cut and theatrical cut. So I was like, wait a minute. I think we might be watching the director's cut, which is actually 2.5 hours long as opposed to like 2 hours long. It's been a while since I've seen that movie, so I don't know what it adds to it. I suspect it adds more to background to his maybe more background to like the family stuff. I feel like there's more of the whole him getting skipped forward 2 grades at the start of the film than I remember there being. And obviously it's a big part of his like character that he is younger than he pretends he is. But I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember it being that more of that at the beginning. And I think there's more of his mother, possibly. And then I guess it's just more movie, I guess, otherwise. But it's a really good movie. I love that movie so much. I forgot how good it was, and I recommend it. If you want something that's just quite enjoyable, it's just really enjoyable, quite well written, like well acted movie that's like a love letter to music and journalism, and Jack also kind of just like being young as well, like. And also, has a small role for Mark Maron, which his line where he tries to stop him from leaving, kind of inadvertently created a giant podcast legacy that changed basically revolutionized an entire medium. Wild. Also wild to watch this when the last episode of his podcast is like in 2 weeks. Which is a weird coincidence. Anyway. That has nothing to do with the stream. The point is, I'm just trying to make is that movie went on longer than I expected to. So it meant that I had to basically rush some lunch and then start the stream, start on time. and so the whole thing sort of came together fairly rushed because it had to. But one thing that isn't going to be rushed is us taking our time to solve the final mysteries of the Roottrees are dead. Guys, we have 5 more people to identify. Then I think maybe one more, like a special one. And then that's it. Then Roottree Mania is done, and we can close the book on the entire Roottree legacy. All the Roottrees will be identified. So currently, we are in the post-game Roottrea Mania. We have been tasked by the head of the Roottrea Corporation to find all the secret Roottrees who have existed through a series of affairs that many people within the Roottree family have had over the past 100 years. It is a very long, winding tapestry. So at the end of last stream, we figured out we got all of Guy's affairs sorted, from his various secretaries, his trips to business, his business trips, and various other whatever. Oh yeah, and his interpreter. We also found out that Miracle had been sleeping with a religious country singer. Is she a country singer, or is she just a singer of old religious song? Which led to which led to this one. He's Miracle's illegitimate child. Of course, she had other children, so that led us to these. And then finally, found out that Elias had a affair with his biographer, who wrote a very basically wrote propaganda on him to make him sound like he was a really, really good, honest husband, when clearly that wasn't the truth. Anyway, and from doing so, we found out that they had a legitimate son called Frank Williams, who is a military veteran who worked in construction after he came back from the war, and now we just gotta find out who his kids are. So, where do we start? Well, let's look at some of the evidence that we have. Okay, so anything that we have that's now relevant is going to be the notable events. Judge is going to be R. So there's something still here that's worth looking at. I'm not 100% sure what exactly at this point, because this all feels that I think we've sorted most of this, like 5Ps, that's sorted. The only thing that might be, and we have looked into Anonymum and Jane Doe Roottree. But according to the intuition, there is something still here. So let's have a look at our PC and let's do a quick look at our history. So Frank Wildcat Williams, listed on a few different military history websites. He was a Navy Cross Medal in World War II, and the story goes that even after being struck in the arm with a bullet, he managed to carry a fellow soldier through enemy territory on his shoulders for over 2 miles. Died in 1996, age 74, in a retirement community in Sweetwater, Florida. Obituary, the website for the local news channel, says it was written by his surviving family, also shed some of his personal life. He grew up an orphan, because his family died in a hurricane when he was very young. He barely remembered his mother and had no memory of his father, who was Elias Roottrees, by the way. After the war, he ran a construction company that mainly hired World War II veterans and did a lot of jobs in and around the greater Miami area. He was a born joker and a shining light to those veterans who needed it most. An anecdote mentions he used to insist he married his wife Ophelia as a matter of courtesy and convenience. She wouldn't have to change her last name. A photo is attached of Frank in his youth juggling hammers in front of one of his construction sites, as he was often known to do. According to the article, he has 5 with Ophelia, as well as his daughters Barb and Sharon Williams. Okay, so we have names. The question is going to be, which one is which? I'm going to put them on the... So, Barbara. I assume it's got the way they've worded that is intentionally, so it is oldest to youngest. And looks like Sharon is adopted. To verify this person, you'll be able to have bonus photos. And we don't have any photos of anyone handy. Okay. The wrong thing. His daughters. If we look at Barb Williams, I wonder if there's a reason why. Excellent. Barb Williams is a motivational speaker, and she has a website that explains the services she offers. The company's address is listed in Coconut Grove, Florida. The flyer has been added as true evidence. Okay. No, Overcome adversity with Barb Williams. The story will surprise you, uplift you, and energize you. Gretel Jones. Barb Williams advertises her career as a motivational speaker online. The flyer includes freedom testimonials from Gretel Jones from WKTV 12. Well, we're going to have a little search for her. See if this comes up with anything. Too common name to find anything useful. Okay, that makes sense. Nope. Nice. But if we have a look at this, a lesson that anyone can take something away from. Vic Elmsworth, Kikiwa Falls Gazette. A truly intimate evening with a truly wonderful message. Elizabeth Isabel Crosby, Superintendent, Benton County. Let's put this in because it might add something to our periodicals, possibly. Interesting. So there is no Kikiwa Falls anywhere in the world that you can find. The closest thing to a Kikiwa appears in New Zealand. Instead, a man named Chris Elmsworth has invented a small town newspaper as a conceptual art piece. Kikiwa Falls Gazette is a series of online articles about small restaurants, shows, and other tourist attractions all across the United States. This is presented as a monthly newspaper of small town America. What makes the Kikiwa Falls Gazette is a bit strange is that amongst the articles detailing real occasions are occasional stories that present outlandish, inflammatory concepts in extremely mundane ways. For example, on the homepage right now is an article entitled "Mermaids Strike Back Against Lobster Farms" that using very dry language details the idea that mermaids in Maine have begun to unionize in support of better benefits. There are no punchlines, and the articles are not marked any differently from the rest. Fortunately, each current issue of the paper is presented on the homepage. There are no archives for older issues. That is very frustrating. Okay, I'm going to do a quick search of this. Gretel Jones is, according to a flyer in your possession, the morning news anchor for a channel called WKTV 12. Sorry, WQTV 12. Watching WQTV12 has no online web presence whatsoever. You do find it listed on a giant list of television call signs next to Springfield under the heading Effingham County. You may do a deeper dive on the specific city and states if any locals are discussing news in that area. Okay, in that case, I reckon I have to look in the county because I think Springfield is going to be too vague. There's a reason why it's called Springfield in The Simpsons, because it's supposed to be like every city. Effingham County is named 2 different counties in the United States. One is Georgia, the other is Illinois. Okay. Georgia. There's Springfield and Effingham County, Georgia. Cool. Okay. Well, that's good. So at least we know that the motivational speaker went to Georgia. And I'm gonna look up Vic Elmsworth. I know we looked at the magazine, but I wonder if we can get anything else. That's not what I wanted. Vic Elmsworth, according to his own personal page, is apparently one of 3 brothers. All 3 of them are contributors to a newspaper called the Kickewa Falls Gazette. And he tends to focus more on the southeastern United States, hence Georgia? Right? All the articles he's written are archived on his site, including the long-form version of the review of Barb Williams' motivational show in 1987. According to Victor, he has seen Barb talk more than once. On this particular occasion, Barb's talk was at a very large church. It was clear she was an expert at matching the presentation of her concepts for any particular crowd, because she received a standing ovation. Barb's side was a story about loss, specifically the loss of a bicyclist that had been hit by a car. She spoke about the death of any person as a darkness in their loved ones. A cold, empty void that begins to creep into a space where there was once light. Because the light could never return exactly how it once was, she has the only option is to nurture new sources of light, help fight back the darkness. The conclusion was that finding hidden meanings in tragedy is the most important thing we can do. She used multiple biblical comparisons, finished by looping back around onto her initial story and how she personally came to come around this ideology. The biker had died, who was her son-in-law, and the Lanes Across America charity was created to fill the newfound darkness her daughter experienced. The charity, was the light that began to fill the void, and she was doing everything she could to nurture it. Okay, so her daughter found a charity. So we've got this wrong. No, wait, hang on. Yeah, so she has a... I'm just trying to... So that's going to be Barbara. And that's going to be Sharon? Is it Sharon? And she is a speaker? Public speaker. Right, and we need to look up the Lanes Across America. Lanes Across America, or LAA, is a charity focused on adding bike lanes to major cities. The pages and pages of news articles mention Lanes Across America have a similar summary in them. LAA, formerly LAM, was founded in 1987 after the death of Drew Smith. Drew was biking home from work when he was hit by a car. Each year since, Lanes Across America has grown, and they now have offices in over 12 major metropolitan areas including Miami, where the charity began. The website of the charity is a picture of Drew. The photo has been added to evidence. So... I need to go back to that last article. Partial wedding photo from the website for a charity called Lanes Across America. The rest of the part is cropped out. The charity is founded after the death of Drew Smith, who was featured in the photo. So... Okay, let's go back. I wonder if that might be a possible red herring, because he doesn't really show up as one of the people who could be here. Because if these are her daughters, it doesn't have their like spouses as like a optional thing. They have one of hers. They're like her second husband, because she marries and then remarries. But then, I'm convinced we have. But then, if she remarried, they would have to split up unless they. She was. Unless her husband also died, which is possible, I guess. Anyway. Who is Isabel Crosby? Okay. Benton County? I'm gonna guess it's probably Georgia, right? No. Illinois? Damn. So it's kind of... book bar for corporate retreats, church events, or even school assemblies. You can customize the message for any audience. I'm also going to look up. Can I have another read of the review? Is there anything from that could possibly I don't think any of those are going to be particularly helpful here. Why don't we look for Sharon Williams? Okay, Georgia. Damn. News. I do Springfield. When you're finding your search television in and around Springfield, Georgia, you come across a website with different channels available there. This seems to only feature broadcasts of female news anchors. The person who runs the website has ranked each using 3 categories. None of them are relevant to journalism. Of course they're not. One of the entries is Channel 12, and the news anchor listed is Greta Flores. Ooh, that's Greta Jones, isn't it? Greta Jones is a news anchor who apparently used to go by Greta Flores' news anchor apparently used to go by Greta Jones for a divorce. Compared to the ordeal we've gone through to simply figure out her current name, it's way easier than you expect to find. She has a website of her accomplishments. She's apparently MC for an all-female speaking tour in 1977. The tour was called Storyteller of Sisterhood, Mothers and Daughters of Earth. If you do a search for it, it seems some of the stories compiled into a book titled 25 Stories of Sisterhood by Ayla Hale. I mean, we could look up the book on the thing if it's relevant, but which appears like that's going to be the only way forward. I don't know how relevant this is going to be, but excellent. This is an anthology of stories told in a few different storytellers of sisterhood tours. It includes direct scratches to the most well-received stories on stage. Ayla Hale is the editor, not the sole author. One of the stories, by Barb Williams, has been added to evidence. Interesting. The Beauty and the Rat. My sister, Barb Williams had a transcript of a story she told on stage published in a book. The first part of the story focused on 2 16-year-old girls. My sister, Sherry, was a brat. Always sulking, often disobedient, never on time. She borrowed things without asking and even ran away from home only to sneak back the next day. But nothing had changed. My daughter, Sharon, on the other hand, was a beautiful person. She had excellent marks at school, was intensely artistic and creative, and even volunteered in animal rescue. She continued to tell the story of the 2 girls, so she shifts narrative. What's the difference between Sherry the brat and Sharon the beauty? Is it nature, nurture, a better education, different opportunities? The answer is nothing. There was no difference because my sister and my daughter are the same girl. Oh. Okay. Right. Brad reveals that her daughter was a result of an unexpected pregnancy when she was 15. I met a boy at a county fair. Unlike us, he lived in the nice part of town. He went to the good school. To a teenage girl, it felt like a fairy tale. But there were boxes all over his house. He was moving in 3 days. Those 3 days were heaven to me. The final night, he surprised me. He told me he could actually see me again soon. He planned to return to visit his grandparents. I thought I was giving him a reason to keep his promise. I never saw him again. When I finally got desperate enough to ask around, a friend of a friend told me he hadn't even given me his real last name. Barbara talked about when she found out she was pregnant. I was convinced my life was over, but my parents, they took charge. I had to live at home and work a part-time job. But they removed the burden of motherhood. I managed to scrape out a degree in English, and as far as my daughter is concerned, I was her much older sister. That explains why the family tree looked really weird for them. Barbie used the story to come to a conclusion. When I was younger, I thought my sister was the brat, and I wasn't wrong. But when she ran away from home to work at the animal shelter, she borrowed close presentations at school, and her creativity allowed her to open up Sherry's hair. It took me far too long to realise the beauty was always there too. In fact, the brat and the beauty exist in all of us, and it was my inner brat that kept me blind to the truth. And I'd like to say it's the beauty in me that's finally able to see what I was missing. I implore you to call upon the beauties in yourself whenever the brat tries to take hold. Okay, so this is Barbara. And public. And then this will be Sharon. And she is a vet. No. She's worked in an animal shelter, but I don't know what that would come under, if there's something else that we can use. And then her husband is Drew something. I did look just to see this. Drew Smith. Well, I guess Andrew then. Wait. I need to have a look at another one of those, another picture. Who? It's a photo of him. Him, his father, and Guy Hudson, while distractedly snuck into the supply of chocolate they kept visitors tours. Okay, so that's young Chris Rafferty. Right, anyway, so would she come under Sharon Smith if we search for her? Sherry Smith? Damn. But yeah, obviously that makes sense that there isn't like the big X here because he clearly died. So she remarried later. apparently there's more to... Open up Sherry's hair, so she's a hairdresser. Ah, okay. Hang on. There's a Sherry's Hair in Orlando. The owner of the business is listed as Sherry Yastrzeminski. Sherry has a large van on the weekends. It can bring the style of Brittany, Christina, or even the Rachel to your door. The About Sherry section is very, very long and presented with one paragraph with multiple round sentences and no pictures. Sorry, my noise cancelling headphones just ran out of battery, so I had like a big alert telling me to recharge my headset, and it was in the middle of a sentence. That was fun. You get a sense that if she was to do your hair, she'd be doing a lot of talking. It mentions that her husband Pete was her late husband's college roommate. She and he had never spent any significant time together until she became a widow, and they built a charity together. They left the charity behind because it was growing beyond their ability to run it. She also brags about her kids, Tony, Mark, and Cricket. Her oldest, Tony, seems to get the short end of the stick. His list of accomplishments is the oldest and is a straight A student. Mark, on the other hand, has hang on. I'm just whilst that's there, I'm going to Mark Ostrensky. Or just I'm getting that name wrong. So it's the oldest and a straight A student. Mark, on the other hand. Right. I've got that wrong. Yet. Anthony. And if he's a straight A student, he's probably still in school. As Tony seems to get short on the stick, his two listed as a straight A student. Mark on the other hand has multiple baseball accomplishments, listed apparently his little league team is nationally recognised. Cookie was near the end, and she's an entire section dedicated to her. She's an actress on a local television show called Liberty Library. And the reason Sherry located from Miami to Orlando, Sherry, in addition to be hireable to DMT would do, is a stylist for the show. Plus, she also mentions her agent recommended they change her last name to York since it's easy to pronounce. The rest of the section describes how she got the part, but it seems unimportant to your search. Okay, so but she could be like Cricket and Mark. It could be that Cricket's the middle child and then Mark is the younger one from the other marriage. Why don't we have a search on her? Oh, if he's a little league, he's probably quite young. So right, so I'm gonna put him. Yes, yep. Oh no, they might be Smiths though. I might have to look into this a bit more. Because the agent recommend they change her last name to York since it's easier to pronounce. So that means she probably is a the youngest and from that marriage. Let's have a look. Liberty Library is a children's show filmed in a studio in Orlando, Florida. It has been on the air since 1921. In the show, multiple adults and children interact with different animal puppets in a small town called Liberty. Unlike some of the popular shows involving non-human performers, this one isn't funded by the public. Instead, it's paid for by donations from businesses related to education. This includes the textbooks manufacturers like Arithmetic, tutoring companies such as EduCATU. Oh, Educate-to-you. Funny. As well as a few well-known publishers of picture books. What you can find is syndicated in a few markets across the southern United States and in New Hampshire, for some reason. Like most other children's entertainment, many of those who grew up with it tend to have fond memories. That works in your favour because the show has been documented by a few fan sites. There's even a library web ring, although it only has few free entries. You click through the sites in the ring and find that Cricket York joined the cast in 1987, age 5, and is listed as a current cast member. Picture of Cricket from one of the first episodes of Add Your Evidence. Right. I think that cements her as the youngest. And also it makes sense that she would be the one who has to change her name from Jastrzewski. But I'm gonna have to put her I have to put her legal actor. I quite like the raccoon with the glasses. Can I take a photo of that? Can I add that to the list? No. This is a promotional shot of Cricket York and the puppet Poof Tail from 1987, when she was on the show called Liberty Library. According to the site you found it on, the theme of the episode tackled why some people need glasses. Fair enough. He will be Anthony Smith, I think. Then Mark Smith. And they're both students. Okay. This is probably going to be not go anywhere, but maybe, unless Arithmetic is a math textbook publishing company. They were in the news last year when the Primetime News program did a full comparison of their 4th edition textbooks and their 5th edition textbooks. Schools were complaining that the two editions seemed remarkably similar, yet Arithmetic was charging almost double for the new edition than they had for the previous one. The news program announced that between the two books there were only 16 total changes. The most notable was the cover was changed from a picture of a water droplet creating a concentric rings on a lake to a close-up of a feather. There are 15 instances of changing 4th to 5th. This even led to a geometry problem where the book asked students to calculate the 5th side of a rectangle. Nobody associated with arithmetic seems to be related to your search. Boo. What about Educate-to-you? Tutoring services, they have a deal with Liberty Library and feature some of the actors shown in the pictures on the website. According to the site, they actually provide tutoring to all the actors and actresses on the show to accommodate the shooting. Previous Cricket York, who was seen in a photo labelled Cricket and their brothers ready to learn from one of their talented tutors. We have pictures of the kids. Jeez, that would have sounded bad out of context. You don't find much else about Educate-to-you. except that there seems to be a small subsection of Liberty Library fans who are deeply unsettled by the company's logo, which would appear after credits for each episode. One writes, I was terrified of the little girl in the Educate to You logo. She looked like some kind of demon doll, and I'd race the TV every day to switch style for a creepy laugh came on. I kind of want to see that. I think that would be kind of funny. Right, I think I can tell which one's which based on the fact that that younger one has a baseball t-shirt, so I'm guessing he's a fan of baseball. Also, is that the creepy doll? Doll woman? Because it's, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of looks like me. That is. Not happy about that one. Anyway. Right, he's the older one, looks like that. Mark is the younger one, looks like that. Right, so we just need a photo of Sharon Williams. I think we're kind of done. At least we'll have everyone identified in theory. Unless I am very wrong. So if we go back to Sherry's hair, Sherry's a large van. We can celebrate Christina Rich at your door. Is there any way we can figure out somehow get a photo of that van? Wait, if she does the... If she's a stylist, maybe. Could she possibly be in the... Oh, if it's defunct, maybe not. Possibly. She might be mentioned in there. No. I doubt it, but no. And I suspect searching her will just come up with the same article. So if there's still something on I'm going to go back a little bit. So, do you think we could possibly get a name of her husband? Maybe there's a photo of them, maybe from like their wedding or something somewhere. Yeah, that'd be quite. Makes sense. That's quite vague. Let's have a look here. I wonder if Pete. Okay, right. So it's a. God, I was right there the whole time. So husband is a Peter. Yastrzemski. And I'm going to do a search for him. I don't want to get the spelling wrong, so. Okay. So Pete. And then Drew Smith. Maybe Andrew Smith, who's the former husband. And they. So they formed the LAA, right? Form the LAM. I wonder if we search for that. I'm just gonna. Sorry. Doubt if we search his name they'll get anything. Yeah, just it. Same photo of the charity, same thing of the charity. I wonder if he changed his name. Sharon. No, it wouldn't. it's a stretch. Because I don't know if that's the university they went to. No. I wonder if we can get an idea of the animal shelter that she worked at. Also, I wonder if there's any relevance to Isabel Crosby. Because these two have kind of helped us, and this one kind of hasn't. There's been a bit of a red herring, but I feel like there's still something important. Is there like... Actually, there hasn't been a Benton County since 1950 whatever. Maybe there was something in there? Nope. This was from that earlier than then. Let's have a look, see if there's something I'm missing. We definitely looked up. Okay. Yeah. There's something here that is like... Did... We have another look at Vic. No, it was discontinued because it was discontinued in. Has it been? Has there been a replacement? I think it merged with another thing. Yep. This could be very vague. Don't Miami. Maybe we can find some kind of like obituary, possibly. Nope. Sharon. I know we've searched that before. What if we do the son who's like a wonderkind baseball player? That makes sense. Did okay, this little league team is nationally recognised. I wonder if no, there isn't really anything else relevant for that. Apparently they're still here, which is interesting. If I do Miami Animal Rescue, will that come up with anything? Haven't? No, I don't have any look at that because I think that's going to lead us anywhere. Where is it? It might maybe? I don't know. Hang on. a search for educate you. Maybe in... So I want to double check. Okay, so it's relocated from Miami to Orlando for the show. Messi's under some reason. I might get a duck hint. Unless anyone out there has any idea. Okay. Alright, Ducky, what you got for me? It's more discovered about lanes across America. Is there? Interesting. Drew was biking home from work when he got hit by a car. Each year since Lanes Across America has grown, and now they have offices in over 12 metropolitan areas, including Miami, where the charity began. So if I do LAA, Miami, will that come up with something different? LAM, Miami? Or if I do lanes across Miami, because if it starts in Miami, maybe that's how it... Searching for lanes across Miami does narrow down the pages and pages of articles you found earlier, only to those with more depth history about the charity. You find some additional information. LAM was founded in 1987 and became LAA in 1984. It was founded by Sharon Smith after the death of her husband. Sharon and some of the other board members stepped down in 1982, and the current leadership took over. One of the oldest articles is a full uncropped version of the same wedding photo from the LLA website. It seems that Sharon left LAM. After Sharon left LAM, they began to crop her and the rest of her wedding party out of the photo to focus solely on Drew, who is the face of the charity. The full photo has been added to your inventory. I don't know who these guys are. I guess that might be Barb, right? Okay. What I'm going to do is, because I think this is Peter. And... got it. Booyah.
Hi again. I know you probably thought you were done.
I'm never done with these guys, am I? We're going to be doing this forever.
But it turns out what you're doing here might have some pretty major repercussions on the family tree.
Yeah. I'm glad you're only just realizing that now.
Again. Also, There's something really strange happening. I can't explain it.
Neither of us can.
I'd call it a simple misunderstanding, but it's digging at the pit of my stomach. I just have a feeling. Clark?
Last week, let's just say being the president, sometimes people bring me things.
Go on.
Just skip to the important part.
Right. One of our janitors brought me some hair she'd found in Ruby Spratt's trash. It was Bonnie Hudson's.
Uh-huh.
Bonnie is Guy's sister. She'd sent us her hair to test potential Roottrees, since her DNA is closest to Guy's. But
Right.
Ruby threw it out, and I wasn't sure why she would have done that. Especially right before we began testing the tree you provided. When I asked, she told me she thought the samples needed to be fresh every time they did a test.
It seems really odd. Ruby was the one who convinced us to do DNA testing in the first place. She seemed so knowledgeable. I don't like it. You've done more of a deep dive on these people than anybody else has. Clark will keep a closer eye on the DNA tests from now on. You have an eye for anomalies. We need you to find the smoking guns.
If there's anyone you're 100% positive can't be a Rootree,
Or any you've got definitive evidence are Roottrees, then we might be able to catch Ruby in a lie.
Okay. So who can we say for I'm not I'm gonna say might be a root tree, but it's impossible to prove for Frank. Because we don't have any evidence that actually, at least I don't think we do. I'm gonna have a check on this. Yeah, there's no evidence that she is, that he is, like, other than they clearly were very, like, she was very fond of him. Clementine, I think that is a possible. True. So Stuart was saying he thought he was a root tree, because I think there was I don't think he is. They're very specific about how she'd adopted him. So I don't think he is. He might be. Because that's... yeah, I think that's more likely. Also, he has the blonde hair of the other miracles. But apparently there's a clue that we haven't found yet. So he's a root tree. I think that's been... Jeez, there's so many, like... bits that we haven't found. I think she is. Because there was a whole thing about Jinyu going off to America to have IVF, quote unquote have IVF procedure done when she was probably already pregnant at that point. And they were saying how that was a thing that happened, would happen. I don't know about this. I don't think so. And because these are twins. But at the same time, yeah, I'm not convinced they are. See, he kind of has the hair, so it's possible. I don't think it's going to be possible to prove because she was very, very private. I don't know. So, don't know how this one proves it for him. Oh right, yeah, the Christmas tree bash. Yes. Oh wait, hang on. So is this up for debate now? Okay, I guess we probably should like go through this, right? Robbie Roottrees was released from French prison after serving a few years for assault. His embezzlement and arrest were partially featured in 6 pieces, and have since become much more publicly infamous. He has not yet returned to the United States, but when journalists reached out to him recently after the death of his mother, he had issued a blanket statement a few years ago. The death of my mother was hard on our family. My brother and I, after spending some time together caring for her and mourning, have finally made amends. It was a highly transformative 3 weeks, and when it came to our relationship, I'm recovering from my addiction, and a major aspect of that process is that I wish to stay private. I mean, I would say they are, because they are unless maybe if I look up what's the rune. Okay, that's nothing new. I mean, I think that'll be a big scandal if it turns out either of these aren't. But then Ron was trying to get him out of the Clancy Trust, so maybe there's something there. Gonna have a quick look at that. I've looked at this before. God, I know. one bit of evidence not found yet. Although I don't know if that would confirm it. Oh, Dominic, he had another affair, Jesus. Although, also, won't we? What's that one in as well? Company records. So we have. So it could be one of these. I think he is I don't think he is. I think he's not. I think he might be. Actually, I think he could be because I'm gonna say yes because her relationship with her husband was basically for show, so that makes sense if he was. Why don't we look up some hints just to see if we can. Yeah, thanks. Still so much like missing though, that's the thing. What was Wild Bill, what's his face's name? It's like Wild Bill Williams. Did not make an appearance at Roottrees' funeral because of the absence of rooms online. He had already died, but according to a reporter, tracked it down. He's still in his 70s, still lives in Paris. He's in perfect fine health. I think it was Mark Twain who said the rumours of my death have been greatly exaggerated. That seems present today. He's just met with Gwyn with just one step along the very long and complicated journey of my life and career. Last time we spoke was when I signed the divorce papers. She asked me to never contact her or the kids again. Before I respected those wishes, they never reached out to me either, even as adults, so I have to assume they have some idea why she hated me so much and the sacrifices she made on my behalf. Wish them well and I'm sorry for that loss, but we've been open streams for 40 years, and they can confidently say that they wouldn't have wanted me to be there. In fact, I'm confident my presence would have ruined it. Okay. We'll look up our productions. And the Guys Like Us remake. Let's have a look at that then. Oh, is that called Movie News? Funny. The logo is a cow on a film canister. Ruby cast as Cameron Diaz in a role originated by Gwyn, Linda Fiorentino, and Chris O'Donnell. It's very, very hot late 90s actors. According to Leak News, the remake has been put on indefinite hiatus to its director, dropping out of the wake of serious medical issue, although that's only a rumour. Okay. Well, I think it's updated information on Ruby. I doubt it. As a lawyer and a PR manager, so I mean, she's gonna want to hide stuff to make the Roottrees look good. Which I think means these are probably more also likely to be Roottrees. I think they are too. And I think I'm gonna just one bit of evidence I need. But I don't think that's gonna how much of a difference that's gonna make. We have another look at this quickly, just sort of. So during the late 70s, and Christine Garland is Christine Farrow. Yeah, so I think it's one of these two. Who is the Anonymum? Although I suspect there won't be anything if we. I mean, it does now. Have a look at the evidence. Large parties, the longer he was present, the more excuses he found. The anonymous woman posits the party most seemed to excuse to have after parties at Guy's home, featuring much alcohol and other substances. So at one of these after parties. She went to Guy when she found out she was pregnant. Guy didn't seem phased and they kept an arrangement. It appeared to be significant, had a hush money on a recurring basis at the table. She used it to move away and start a new life for her daughter. And we have a wait. Who's this? Is that important? It could be any of either of these two. Two as well. I don't know. I mean, they're but yeah. I'm just gonna say they are yes. Those two, I don't know if that's the case. I assume because they're both Gwyn's children. Unless there's something here that negates that, which is possible, I guess. Have another look at. Hmm. Uh, okay, so he. Well, no, but, no, they would be both root trees because we gave birth to both of them, right? She definitely gave birth to that second one. She announced that she was pregnant. And then again, and I'm gonna search her in here. Yeah. Yeah, so they're both, yeah, they're both hers, so they're both blood relatives, that's fine. Um, and what if we look up him in Piketty? Is there anything new on him? Okay, so it's just that. I wonder if they've got anything on Roottrees. Probably might have searched that like 10 minutes ago. I hope I spelled the name right. Actually, hang on. 5 P's. Felix. Yeah, I'm gonna do lawyer. Okay. think might be a Roottrie, but it's possible to prove. Unless that gives us like some actual some actual proof. What was this again? Right, Lucinda. What was the deal with that? I kind of want to find out what's smoking guns, but at this point I'm just like, I have no idea how to even go about doing that. Look in Business Watch and do Ron. Let's go about 2 months after the Roottrie rift about what happened with Roottrie. The article mentions that nobody from Roottrie that they reached out to was willing to go on the record and said timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and a source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are the most vague ones, the ones supposedly confirmed from their anonymous source. The Times says the family actually held a preliminary vote after Carl Roottrie died, but before the recent 6 pieces, inside they wanted Ron Roottrie to take over because of experience running RR Productions, which was a well-known, well-respected Roottrie. But Ron seemed way too young, personally motivated. They were worried they would go get the client's trust to remove Robbie Roottrie. The family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. He stalled and Ron became frustrated with the delay. The 6 pieces came out, he saw the chance to force action while the family was in the limelight and released a press release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos in the family. They tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president of Clark, but according to Business Watch source, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the client's trust. They eventually let him go. That's how Roll sold past Solid Clark, who was nobody excited about, but seemed the safest choice. What about Robster? Okay, same thing. Wait, with one possible to left to identify who? Oh, this one. Duh. Okay, so I know this is optional. But I do kind of want to figure it out. Can I put Jane Doe Rootree as like a thing? So I so it's probably gonna be one of these four. Research for Linda Lewis. Cause it's interesting that one Lisa Lewis is fired, and then Linda Lewis starts. The same last name. I mean, I know it's not a uncommon last name, but I do think that's kind of interesting. And I just feel that's like and I wonder also if go to the edition 4. Okay, so Linda Lewis leaves in 82. Actually, I wonder if Christine's kid, him, James, I wonder if he's not a Rootree because she would be married before Guy took over as head of the company. That's not to say he didn't have an affair there, but I'm gonna say not a Rootree, but I still think we maybe need that one like clue. I feel like for the purpose of getting the stream done, we might have to look up the smoking gun evidence, just so we can get all the facts and determine everything correctly. But that said, I don't want to look it up and it give me the answers as to whether they are or not, because I don't want that. I want us to figure those out on our own. So I might have to possibly get one spoiled if I do that. So I'm gonna have to sort of experiment with this a little bit. And it sucks and I hate doing it. I hate doing this. Okay, so unfortunately, I might have just spoiled the one of the things. That's annoying. But so if we go back to, it hasn't spoiled like whether or not something is Roottrees. So this is fine. So for Mark Clementine, we still need to look up about the County Times Edith, apparently. Jacobson. There's a Crime Blotch article about Edith Jacobs. Okay, so Edith Jacobson was the wife or sister of Miracle. I think we kind of at some point had wondered if she had some, like, yeah, she married Miracle Jr. There was a whole weird thing about her also being a bit of a like faked a lot of stuff. But Eve Jacobson also mentions Helen Roottrees and then Lucinda Jacobson. Wait. Oh. Oh, I'm so dumb. Why didn't I see this earlier? So we were looking at Toastadina Jacobson, who bailed out Mark Clementine earlier, right? And it said that her real name was Lucinda. Lucinda is Edith's sister, because of course she is. Can't remember why I didn't remember that or thought that. So, there's a Crime Blotch article about Edith Jacobson that also mentions a Helen Roottrees and a Lucinda Jacobson. In 1971, when she was 18, Edith and her sister Lucinda were arrested for trespassing at the Miracle Congregation's church in Butler County. They were pretending to be church employees in an attempt to get into a room where the church houses their weekly tithings. The church didn't press charges. They were caught by Helen Roottrees, who was there at the time while her husband Miracle was away preaching. Helen Roottrees was quoted as saying, "Jesus forgives and so do we. The Lord works in serious ways. I'm confident He has brought these two young women to us for a greater purpose." So, which one? It's just ways and companies, but it's wing for us for either purpose. What does that have to do with him, and why are they... Oh, that means he's probably their... Not their... Yeah, he's probably their son. Like, Miracle and, Edith, or Lucinda's child. Yeah, I think he's a Rootree. Right, let's have a look at let's have a so do we have anything else that's worth... I don't really want to look at this. I've got this stuff of riffs and stuff, and I'm like, not riffs, of spoken good evidence, and I'm like, I kind of don't want to look at it. Like I said, it kind of just feels like it ruins it a little bit. So what periodicals? It looks like there's so much evidence about him that we still haven't gotten for some reason. Like he seemed like quite clearly the one who we could confirm was a Rootree. Don't know if there's anything that we haven't could take us any further with this. What if we... I know this is not going to be anything new. If we do, I know this will just can't see results, but so records upon live shows in Portland, that name. If we do look up his mum. I don't quite know what this has to do with the evidence for 5Ps. Some wealth inequality, so what about Riley Fellows? Why did we search him? I don't think we ever did. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe like... I doubt they'll come up on here, but... don't know why I searched that. It's probably not going to have anything new. Evil. Can we look this guy up? It didn't come up with anything, but I don't actually listen to the song. Is it good?
Attention, attention, Roottrees. This is 5-piece coming at you from the real world. You know, the place you ain't ever lived in.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Root of all your
Man,
problems.
y'all are hypocrites. Sitting back in your massive estates, built from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it based on your family's creations.
It's alright.
But look at here, sonny.
Clearly,
Don't you come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick.
clearly very Eminem
My pappy's
riffing.
place of trust should
Yeah.
keep you away. Yo, it's disturbing, catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known hurt, but blurts out these claims that somehow we're sinners because we didn't earn it. When all of your worth it came free with your name, you expect me to treat your lectures on greed as some expert creed from he without blame. How about instead, I turn my other cheeks and spread them. When you give me a kiss, you'll know just where to aim.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. So once more with passion, tell this poor tragic orphan how your mansions and Porsches are actually horrible. How I'm better off penniless, grasping for morsels. How wanting my share, that's actually extortion. With your candy ass name, synonymous with sweets. Oh, you wanna call me classless? I'm gangster from Portland, but I play that game. I came up on the streets. The only streets you reppin' are Park Place and Boardwalk. Hypocrisy, monopoly is toppling. When I knock, have G's. Top off my pockets.
So,
Cause the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he.
how can we try to get this filled in?
And if you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune, that's unfortunate. I guess I'm gonna have to take my portion, and I'll do it all legally. Class action, courtroom, decorum. I'm way past your fancy ass dormant.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Bring the choir in.
You say
it's a dead end there, but if you poke around some more, you can dig out some more information.
of all your problems. Let me
That's what I thought.
take those problems away. You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burn
She and every woman hide at the same time during transition period when they skip to choose that work and exact more than already gone. So that she and the other woman are underqualified but has never had typewriter experience. According to the other staff members, Guy's own requirements of hiring women. So it's back to work at the department store. Yeah, but what department store would that be? So it's a daughter. I think it's definitely one of these two during the transitional period. Can I search her on anything? Is there anything in like maybe a periodical? Okay, what if I got the county department store? Unless... is there something... being paid under the table? Is there anything that's a bit weird? What's Shigua? Yeah, it's... Chinese word for watermelon. Alright. Okay. Oh, of course. The really bad one. Why didn't I think about looking her up on that? Piketty is not afraid to expose these sort of publications with a void. Shortly after the announcement that Jane Doe Rootree was not a Rootree, Piketty exposed personal details about the story of the Anona Mum with the storyline Anona Mum, the Anona Con. Said that Anona Con works as a manager at a department store in North Carolina and his daughter's name is Courtney May. Okay. Right, so we have a name. It also said the woman that vouched for her famous cover story is named Corinne S. and said that she had filed for bankruptcy. So, vouched for her cover story is. I suppose that none of them and Corinne were in it together, and we expect that they might be lovers. It was not a credible publication. Their information wasn't particularly actionable. Very few people seem to notice or care. So. In that case, so they're two separate people, so that would make that Beatrice Watts, which is what we might have thought. She's a manager. Retail. Is there any way we can do a search for Courtney May has a simple website, black text on a white background and a few images. From the view counter, you can tell you're only one of a few hundred people who has visited it. She's not shy about claiming she is Jane Doe Rootree. It's proof she has posted an unobscured cover from the time she was featured on News Time. There's a different picture of herself that appears to be a wedding photo. The website appears to be created in defense of her mother, who has become the target of public scrutiny. The headline: a true story of Jane Doe Rootree, courtesy of Courtney May Newton, formerly Watts. Everyone has everything wrong. My mum approached the Rootrees before 5Ps was even on the cover of News Time. Interesting. Maybe the Rootree company took us seriously. They only listened to us after we appeared on TV and magazines. This site has a scan letter from the Ruby League group to Courtney May's mother Beatrice. In polite little terms, it appears to accuse her of exploiting their name in order to leave the Rootrees alone. It is dated from a few weeks before the 5Ps article appeared in News Time. It seems legitimate. Courtney May also discusses her mother's magazine feature in more detail. Do you know how difficult it was to convince anyone to tell our story? My mum didn't want to show her face because everyone in the media was approached assuming she was lying. Because her story is just like 5Ps. My mum's story was first. Mum was advised by Ryan and Cork to tell News Time that seeing 5Ps on the cover is what inspired her to go public. That's the only way News Time would agree to it and to help her get on TV. But it's not true. Our story was first. Courtney's defense continues, but much of it seems repetitive and useless. Towards the end of her page, she discusses a DNA test and defends her mother's character. My mother is amazing. She is the nicest woman in the world. She has diabetes and works at a department store, but still managed to help pay for my apartment to get in the big city, so I could stay with my high school sweetheart. I got a degree in nursing, so I learned all about DNA in college, but I'm beginning to think it's all a lie. Mum is 100% confident that there's nobody else who could be the father. Either they did the test wrong, or DNA is complete bullshit. She is not a liar. Okay. So no, she's got the hair. I'm gonna go with it. And that would be Daniel. What did we say his last name was? Watts, that was it. No, wait, that's her maiden name. Um. I'll have another look at that. Blah blah blah. I need to get the occupation. I got a degree in nursing. So she's a nurse. Newton. Okay, so I'm just not sure about this. I don't think so. But I'm gonna put it's impossible to prove. I don't think. I think she is. I think he probably is. I don't think they are. I think he is based on the information, but how much? I feel like we've got so many like smoking guns left on him that it just feels like there's still not enough to sort of confirm that, even though obviously that's been like the thing that DNA tests have said that they are. But then Ruby has been kind of taking away evidence, so how do we know that's true? And what is the I'm gonna have a look on I'm gonna have another look at some smoking gun evidence. Have a look up, see if it's for him, because I'm gonna have a look, see if we can get a definite answer without spoiling it, hopefully. Okay, so apparently there's something comes up when we look up Team Blast. on him, so... Oops, that's not what I wanted. I'm an idiot. Five Piece is popular and attractive enough that even though his music is not targeted towards teen girls, they seem to be paying attention to him anyway. While he hasn't done any interviews with the magazine, they've listed him among the hunky hotties for the past months with small bios that tell you various facts about him. That includes his real name, David, his birthday, February 9th, 1977, his star sign Aquarius, and where he grew up, foster care in Portland. Letter to Edwards claims it's not possible he was born in 1977. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Because, like, if he was born 1977, that would contradict. I've got to find that photo. Because that's 1978. Yeah, she married. So she leaves in 1977. Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. Right? Possibly, depending on when, I guess. Yeah, if he's born in early February 1977, she leaves in 1977. I don't know if that makes sense. Another class was born in 1977, claiming the song called 70 Magazine, that he turned 17 in 1992. Well, Ezra responds to a statement that they've reached out to his agent, asked about the song, and were told it wasn't formed by 5 Piece and they shouldn't print rumours. 17 Magazines, also press, sometimes referred to as 70 Magazine, is the title of an unreleased and controversial song by Dirty Davy. There's a few mentions of it on a few sites, claiming it was on the first release of his first mixtape, but it was removed. There's no audio or visual evidence of it existing, but there are independent accounts from people who have claimed to have heard it, and they do generally line up. According to the recollection, it was about most different loosely connected occurrences in 1917, mostly violent. It states it was written on Davy's 17th birthday and involved a series of murders at a fashion show for a teenage magazine with a similar to the song title. The person doing the violence was apparently trying to beat Dahmer's high score. Jeffrey Dahmer had pleaded guilty to killing 16 people in 1952. Due to the major acts of gun violence in schools earlier this year and the subsequent backlash against violent music and video games, it's generally considered in very poor taste to bring it up. Most people that enjoy mentioning it online are either trolls trying to shock people or come from the morbidly curious corners of the internet. Yeah, that... I think that kind of... So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I don't think I'm gonna changing that to he's not a Rootree. Based on that. But again, there's still so much evidence. Next. So I want to have a look at this one clue. Let's search kitchen tales. Did we not search that? So I actually looked at the thing that's like the evidence that we're looking for. Kitchen Tales is a story-based recipe book credited to Mark Zimmer. Some success others featured on a morning talk show. Book released before the internet was widespread, submissions of it are rare. One book collector states that the publishers were unprepared for the demand, that there was no second printing, so it's unusual to find a copy in the wild. An alternative medicine website that focuses on cooking with natural ingredients mentions that one of the Kitchen Tales recipes used salt water. During the site, you can scan the recipe, which adds to your evidence. If you switch out the salt water in the recipe for a mix of 2/3 spring water and 1/3 filtered seawater, it tastes great. Kitchen Tales is a book that combines recipes and stories. It is mildly popular, but seems to have disappeared from online marketplaces in 1982. You found a scan of one story on the website. It demonstrates how to bake the plated loaf. For years, two bakers, Flora and Yates, flirted. They grew their friendship, compared recipes, and combined knowledge. She loved his salt and pepper beard. He told her rosemary cheeks. They thought sweetly about one another, but he was one day whisked away, conscripted to take bake in the army's bread. By the oil lamp, Flora's tears ran to salt her bread. The recipe asks for everybody to combine flour, yeast, sugar, olive oil, rosemary, combine the salt and water together. Other mixture was it was 10-12 later they met again, seemingly by fate. Flora's unique dough had entered her position as the king's personal baker. Yates had found success as well. He baked for the kingdom's 45 diplomats. One day they returned from the Dutch Isles with a gift. 450 unbaked loaves and were sent to the palace bakery to teach a method that required no kneading. Now the dough was proved 10 to 12 hours, then spread it out and let it sit for over 45 minutes on a flat baking sheet with no kneading. Hope you go writing this down, guys, because there's a good recipe here. Next, prepare a Dutch oven preheated at 400 degrees. Upon seeing Yates, Flora is both delighted and distraught. She felt as if she was torn in two. She had not been made aware of the gift and had already prepared buns from the palace oven. She wished to greet Yates warmly, but was struck by fears. He'd been able to bake with her. That she faced retribution for being unprepared. She cried to Yates, adding more salt to her dough. Yates eased her pain. She insisted that she had no obligation to prepare for a return she thought impossible. But he shared her fear for retribution. He knew if they did not solve the predicament, they'd miss their final chance to bake together. In the end, instead of roaring the present, they worked together to shape the future. They trusted and twined their doughs, baked them as one. Thus was born the plated loaf. The world quickly spread this news light. The king's degree on roll parchment was that it would be considered a delicacy. Roll and twist, etc. Bankrolled by the king, Flora and Yates spent their days baking together. They travelled for 45 years and settled down 15 more. Their souls are golden, no regrets. So, I think there's a lot of metaphors in this. A lot of metaphors in this story. So, had already prepared buns for the palace ovens. I reckon that is evidence that she was pregnant. Yeah, Strawberry fears that he'd be unable to bake with her because obviously that she was being unprepared. Yeah, because she was pregnant. And then Guy paid them off basically. So yeah, he has to be a root tree. Whoops. And I think I'm ready. I think I'm gonna go for it. I think I'm ready to commit that. Let's go. Maybe we're wrong, but first, here are the final optional entries you found. Yep. Other option entries left for next time.
Beatrice and Courtney May. Clark, can you swing another test against Bonnie's DNA?
This time I'll be sure to have them verify both samples in person.
1 week later.
Using the family tree you filled out, as well as DNA tests, we were able to uncover the truth behind all the inconsistencies.
Clark's time in the business, but I've come to thank you and fill you in on everything we've learned. Buckle up, because it's been one heck of a week.
Actually, that's an understatement. It's not every week you discover your family company is being sabotaged by someone they trusted.
Oh, Ruby's in trouble.
But that's the kind of time we've been having. Like I said, buckle up. Maybe grab some popcorn. We'll start with Guy Hudson.
Oh, that's like a good idea. We should have popcorn. Anyway.
Guy had a frankly ridiculous number of potential children. What shocked me is how many graduated from potential to confirmed.
Okay.
We can even prove he was aware of them. The smoking gun was how he used company money to pay off a lot of women.
Yeah.
He hit it with a method inspired by his idol, Elias. 5-piece flavors. The flavors he was paying to.
God damn it, I knew it.
Were a ruse.
I said that when I was looking at that, like, that one flavour, I thought it was weird. So maybe that's a thing. That's what I was thinking, but then I was like, but maybe not. But, yeah. I had that thought. I was onto something, and then I kind of disregarded it, because I'm really
He
dumb.
developed flavors based on the initials of the women he was paying. Which was really stupid, considering one of their names started with X.
And that was the one that I thought, like, thought was really weird. And thought might have been a code, considering the original 5 pieces were. Right. Ferro, Watts, Lang, Alves, and Ford. Oh, so. Oh, the 4 children were his. Oh, I swear I'd seen something in there, but they were definitely Hughes's. That's annoying.
Let's start with Christine. Guy was paying her under the name Caviar, but there were some other clues. James was born 9 months after Zach's party.
Yep.
Christine was there with Guy, and when she got pregnant, she panicked. Steve stepped up. He even turned it into one of his recipe stories.
And that was the giveaway.
Not all of Guy's affairs led to offspring. He may have slept with Robin Martin, but she didn't have children, so we'll never know. Also, not every child of Guy's affair partners were his. Robert Garland was born after his parents had already moved to Boston.
Yeah, that we definitely figured. Definitely knew.
Skipping Beatrice for now. Up next is Leng Xin-yu. When Guy showed up in China, she was into America. And Americans. Dare I say redheads, even? When she got pregnant, her father paid key genes to fake IVF. They claimed her sister was unable to conceive.
Yep,
but her
that's what we thought.
sister and Jerry had their own son, Mark. Sonia Alves was soon after. Nia was married at a very young age to a much older husband.
Yeah,
She
and it was all
resented
ceremony.
him. I don't blame her. They allegedly spent no time together in private. Guy was in Brazil during Christmas 1979. It's the only Christmas not in the records. Flavio was born 9 months later, and like the others, Guy started paying Sonia. Last was Susan Ford, hired to translate for Guy's overseas trips.
Of course.
It's easy to read into Guy's donation to her school, but there's no definitive proof there.
Okay, phew.
She and Guy were witnessed together near the end of his life. Susan's husband was convinced he couldn't be the father of her daughters. Guy, though, paid double. The price of twins.
Well, I definitely read that, and I don't know why I didn't. Fine.
So, what about 5Ps? Felix Fellow's mother, Joanna, doesn't have a 5 pieces flavor. On top of that, his story doesn't really add up. His mother already left the company by the time Guy became president.
Yep.
And his lyrics indicate he was born sometime around 1975. Alone, that wouldn't necessarily prove it. But there are some suspicious connections between Felix and the company's current lawyer, Ruby Spratt.
Alright.
They both grew up in Portland, in foster care, and according to the local paper, they definitely knew one another. Ruby was the one who approached the Roottrees to begin with. It was all a setup. Ruby and Felix saw my book's challenge to the Clancet Trust as an opportunity.
Very smart. Oh, Ruby does have a thing about being against wealth equality in her valedictorian
His mother
speech.
really had worked for Roottree, and Ruby was a respected lawyer. She exploited my family's greed, worked her way into control of the trust, and ensured Felix got a piece. But they made some mistakes along the way. If you look at the 2 DNA tests that Ruby handled, they were both supposedly tested against Bonnie Hudson. But
Did
the
not
two
look at that.
signatures that should both represent Bonnie don't match. After Clark and I confronted her, Ruby lawyered up. Ironic, we suspect Ruby had Donatico test Felix against his own mother's DNA. He had a hairbrush of hers. They sent the female sample in remotely. On the second test, Bonnie's sample was tested locally, but Courtney May's was not. Ruby's been throwing away samples. We think she sent her own hair instead of Courtney May's, but it could have been anyone's. Ruby and Felix were in cahoots. As for why, they were both advocates of wealth redistribution.
Yeah.
A noble effort, but once they controlled the family fortune, they became just as greedy as the worst members of my family. The money corrupted them.
It's an irony that.
They were so eager to personally wield the wealth for their own cause that they sabotaged any other claims. That finally brings us to Anonymom, aka Beatrice Watts. Her tales of guys' parties and payoffs were true. She even approached Ruby before 5Ps was on news time. Ruby used Beatrice's truths to make Felix's lies feel real, then ruin the DNA test so that Beatrice looked phony in the public court of opinion. I feel worst for her in all of this. While Ruby and Felix stole the show, there were some other potential new family members as well. Miracle Roottrie was less of an open and shut case. That said, it's very likely he had a son with Mary Beth Clementine.
But not the one that they thought.
Not Stuart. Mary Beth adopted him before she ever set foot in Butler County.
Yeah.
That leaves Mark. The timeline fits. He showed up about 9 months after Mary Beth visited Miracle, and the basket baby story is a bit too convenient. If that's not enough on its own, he was also bailed out by the sister of Edith Roottree, Miracle Jr.'s wife, after she changed her name to win that silly contest.
It's still really funny to me that they did that.
Our best guess is that Mark was told by his mother whose son he was, and used that fact to put some pressure on Miracle Jr. We have no real proof of that, but nothing else really makes sense for why they'd be connected in that way. Elias's affair was the most ambiguous. Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias to do things he wouldn't have otherwise done, like pressure to include me in the family. My son even mentioned them arguing about someone named Beth. Combined with Gwyneth's lisp, it's possible the name was actually Bess. Unfortunately, all we know about Bess Williams is that she wrote his book and died not long after. leaving her only son an orphan. The timeline fits with Wildcat, but there's no record if she had any other relationship. Honestly, I wouldn't say we had enough evidence either way.
Yeah, I did
I
think
wouldn't
it
be
was kind of there,
surprised
but
if
I'm not
Elias
sure.
cheated. Of course, I'm a bit biased. Regardless, we haven't gotten in touch with any of the Williams clan yet. That means we haven't been able to do a DNA test. As Clark mentioned, from here on out, all of our DNA tests will be in person for both parties. Lastly, we have a bit of a curveball. Ron Roottree isn't related to us by blood. Gwyn was definitely pregnant, so it's likely Robbie is.
Hang on. It's Watson going to small affairs. An American reader on vacation claims to have overheard them arguing while she was holding a baby and visibly pregnant. Gwyn announced she was divorced from Wild Bill and also she was pregnant again, giving this rumor more credibility. What? Okay,
When Ron and Robbie went to visit their mother at the end of her life, something changed. Additionally, there have been a few rumors circling around Ron. RR Productions canceled the Guys Like Us remake due to the director's illness. At the same time, Ron's wife Penelope began doing benefits for Huntington's disease, stating that she had become familiar with it.
okay.
Huntington's is the same disease that Gwyn's former co-star Leslie Florence had. It's passed from parent to child. It can't skip a generation. Because Gwyn and Wild Bill didn't have Huntington's, and Ron seems to, it's impossible Gwyn was his mother. I recently confirmed all this with Ron. At the end of her life, Gwyn told Ron the story. Leslie and Bill had an affair the same year Leslie learned she had Huntington's. Leslie got pregnant. Leslie wasn't likely to survive to see her child grow up, and even if she did, she didn't want to be a burden. She begged Gwyn and Wild Bill to adopt her child. Gwyn did. Mere weeks after she found out she was having her own son, she also took in Ron. Wild Bill was a problem. Unreliable and a serial adulterer. Gwyn divorced him and never saw him again. Gwyn had already told Starlet she was pregnant, so it never really made waves when people saw her with a child in Paris. There was gossip during her divorce when she was discovered to be pregnant again. In actuality, it was the final months of her only pregnancy.
Yeah, in hindsight, yeah, I should have noticed when I read that earlier that was like suspect.
To lay low, she stayed in Paris long enough that even her own family never had reason to question the timeline. It's one heck of a story, and frankly, nobody could be expected to piece the timeline together. Not with what few mentions of Gwyn's past have survived, but the Huntingtons itself? That's proof. Ron suing Robbie to remove him from the Clancid Trust was a huge moment in my story, and a major catalyst for this entire investigation.
Which is very, very interesting.
Finding
Really
out
should have been the
that
other way
it's
around.
pretty much backwards this whole time has been a bit surreal. So that's where we're at. Looking over the information you sent us was useful.
Like your shame show, we'd never have even discovered Ruby.
All this information, this entire story, it's a lot, in more ways than one. Some of it has the potential to destroy marriages and ruin relationships. We're handling it all very, very carefully, but we couldn't have gotten here without you. And with that, I guess our tale has finally, truly come to an end. What a strange one it was. No words can express how grateful I am to you for untangling this mess. Honestly, I've had enough of my family's eccentricities and scandals for one lifetime. I imagine you have as well. And if not...
Sequel?
Attention, attention, Roottrees.
So it's really nice
This
and probably
podcast
is
is coming at you from the real world. You know,
great.
the place you ain't ever lived in.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Root of all your
Man, y'all are hypocrites. Sitting back in your massive
Into that.
estates. Up from the cash that your ancestors gave you.
Let's start that again.
Serve it based on your
Classic
family's
Eminem
beliefs.
Light
Yo, but looky here, sonny, don't you
rap
come
song.
for our money or you might burn bright in hellfire someday. Like that Madsen chick and her two dads. My pappy's cleansing trust should keep you away. Yo, it's disturbing. Catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known hurt, but blurts out these claims that somehow we're sinners cause we didn't earn it. When all of your worth it came free with your name, you expect me to treat your lectures on greed as some expert creed from he without blame. How about instead, I turn my other cheeks and spread them. When you give me a kiss, you'll know just where to aim.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Yeah, well, they're right. This is a bit catchy.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. So once more with passion, tell this poor tragic orphan how your mansions and Porsches are actually horrible. How I'm better off penniless, grasping for morsels. How wanting my share, that's actually extortion. With your candy ass name, synonymous with sweets. Oh, you wanna call me classless? I'm gangster from Portland, but I play that game. I came up on the streets. The only streets you reppin' are Park Place and Boardwalk. Hypocrisy, monopoly is toppling. When I knock, have G's. Top off my pockets, please. Cause the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he wants, right? For you to live in poverty. And if you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune, that's unfortunate. I guess I'm gonna have to take my portion, and I'll do it all legally. Class action, courtroom, decorum. I'm way past your fancy ass dormant.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Bring the choir in.
You say
Steam version of Roottrees today contains no generative AI artwork. I did wonder if maybe some of the artwork was, but I'm kind of glad that's not the case.
you say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
This game has been good. I've really enjoyed this. I mean, obviously, I'm not very. I wish I was better at it. Like, I wish I'd been able to like piece a lot of stuff together better. In a way that like, it's a tough one because it's like it's a skill issue, but it's not a skill issue you can kind of like overcome in a way like you can with, say, I don't know, Elden Ring, where you constantly have to figure out it's all pattern based and you can like get better and work out the skill. Whereas this, I kind of feel like you kind of have to have the right brain for it. Your brain has to be like really wired well for it. And I think mine kind of, I can come to I can piece it together, but I can't like. I mean, I can get in the right direction of it, but I can't get over the final hurdle with some of these. And I don't know if that's like that's. And I'm happy to like blame myself and say that I'm not good enough to do that. But at the same time, I wonder if there is like a issue with like having to figure out the logic in the game. Hope it was worth it, I guess. It is always satisfying when you get the right answer, when you do figure it out or you have it explained, in the way that a really good detective sort of mystery is. And it's been it is a good game. The concept is great, and the game is really good. I think it just requires so many logic leaps that I just don't think I'm prepared for. But it was a fun time. I really enjoyed playing it. So if I can find another game that's like similar, but like I think I would definitely consider playing on stream. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for the stream today. Because we're about 3 hours and the game's over, so I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to play Mario Kart for half an hour? Doesn't seem worth it. Yeah, so we're going to wrap it up there for today, and we'll be back tomorrow with something else. I'm debating about whether tomorrow will be a one-off sort of thing, or if it'll be something more substantive that will carry on over October. I do want to play a horror game or a spooky game at some point this month. The problem is I'm not actually doing that many streams this month because of other circumstances, so I don't know how much time we can dedicate to an actual like horror game, a spooky game campaign. So we'll have to see. So tomorrow might be a one-off, or it might be the start of something else. I need to kind of need to make a decision about that. But anyway, so hope you can join me for that, whatever that ends up being tomorrow. But hopefully around 2ish. Anyway, thank you for joining me for the stream today, whether you joined for 5 minutes or the whole thing. I really appreciate you hanging out. And as always, au revoir, baby. Together eventually. See ya.